Go Jackets.
What is going on, WreckTalk Nation? Thought I'd check in with you guys on my morning walk here. You know, WreckTalk's trying to lose some weight, trying to be healthy. Now, you probably can't see it too well. It's not going to let me zoom in. Oh well. But off there in the distance there, that's right, that's the ATL. And right behind this smoke over here, that's the Benz. It's game week, baby. Can you feel it? It's game week. This Friday, 7:30, Louisville, Georgia Tech, right behind that smoke. And it's going to be time to put the talk aside and show what you can do. We're going to find out exactly what Georgia Tech has. If they're as bad as everyone thinks they are, not going to happen. And we're going to find out if Louisville is as good as everyone thinks they are. So I'll see you guys there. Y'all have a good one.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. And you're getting two videos today. We're really a day out from game day, Friday at the Benz. But while we're waiting on Friday to get here, let's talk about 5 breakout players for this season on the flats here. So these are players that are not maybe expected, or if you don't think they're going to do much, probably unless you're a Georgia Tech fan. Number 1, really the star of the spring game, Malik Rutherford. Malik Rutherford was everywhere, catching everything thrown his way, and really looked like the guy to replace Nate McCullum. They're similar in like size and build and athleticism. Malik Rutherford was reversing field in the spring game. So though I do hate to lose Nate McCullum, I think we're going to be fine with Malik Rutherford. Now, it's hard to pick just one wide receiver because I didn't want to pick more than one breakout player from a position group. But maybe honorable mentions there, definitely DJ Moore. I think is another guy that could be a breakout player. You could probably even throw like Chase Lane and Dominique Blaylock in there as well. I'm really high on this wide receiver room. Obviously, if you've been listening to Rec for any length of time, but I think Malik Rutherford is definitely going to ball out this season. Next, a kid you probably haven't heard his name that much, especially with how dominant A.C. Lee and Charlie Thomas were last season. But I definitely think Cornelius Tatum is going to be a phenom at linebacker this year in that Mike spot. I think they call it money. I don't know if that comes from Collins or not. Usually you call your linebackers like the middle one Mike, the strong Sam, and the weak Will. Either way, Cornelius Tatum was a 4-star out of high school. He was rotated in with consistency. He was a big part, made some big plays in the North Carolina game last year. He's going to be linebacker 1 in that middle spot now, and the kid's going to ball out this season. I think he's the one that I think you might, well, except for one on this list, just be like, wow. I mean, where did this kid come from? I think, though I hate losing A.C. Lee and Charlie Thomas at the linebackers, I think Cornelius Tatum can definitely fill the shoes of at least one of those kids. And honorable mention, a guy that has totally flown under WreckTalk's radar is that Paul Mola. I don't know if you saw I don't know if it was the last press conference or the press conference before it. Brent Key was asked, basically, has Paul Mola earned meaningful snaps and reps this season? And Brent Key was like, yeah. So I haven't heard Brent Key be that high on someone, so I definitely think Paul Mola is a kid that'll step up. He'll probably start as well, and then Andre White and Braylon Oliver rotating in. But yeah, Cornelius Tatum and Paul Mola, definitely kids to watch out for this season. On the defensive line, I would say Sylvain Yanju, the kid from Belgium. He's a senior this year. He might even be a super senior. I'm not, but I think he's a true senior. A guy with a lot of experience on that defensive line. And from what I'm seeing, like, defensive line is something I was a little sus on going into the season as far as depth and just the production we would get out. From what I'm hearing and seeing, we actually do have a good bit of depth at defensive line, and could be, a high point at times this season on the defense. But I think it's probably going to be led by Yanju, and I think he's due to really break out. I think he might have started 1 or 2 games last year, but a guy that's been rotated in, he's going to get he'll start at one of the ends. Definitely look out for Sylvain Yanju to really break out this season. And the last one's a guy that you're probably going to say, like, everyone knows this kid's good. He's even getting recognition, like, second or third team All-ACC, like, best defensive back watch list. But I put LaMarcus Brooks on here because as good as he's expected to be, I think he's going to be even better than that. I think this kid not only is the best defensive back in the ACC, he could be one of the best defensive backs in the country. I think when we get to next season's draft, he will go higher than Keon White in the draft. This guy's a phenom. If you watch the ACC road trip or whatever, where they came in for a spring practice and they broke down film with LaMarcus Brooks, and I was so impressed by this. So they're breaking down the play where he picks off Drake May when they're basically in the red zone. And LaMarcus Brooks, and like, this is such nuanced, like, just headsy play. He says, well, I noticed, I forget, Josh Downs. They kept using Josh Downs as a decoy. So they'd bring him up from the high side, or, from short side field to the wide side field in motion. And he said, I noticed they were really just using him as a decoy. They weren't, Drake May was never looking at him. They were just trying to basically take me out of the play and get a higher percentage throw over the top of him. So he's like, I just sat. I didn't bite on that, and I just sat. And I was able to get in the window and pick it off. And I'm like, man, that is... If you're able to do that, man, you're going to make a lot of plays this season. And the guy who was interviewing me even said, man, like, playing off of Josh Downs, like, that's pretty headsy, leaving him with space if they were to throw it to him in the flats. So just want to get that out really quickly. Tell me what you think. Malik Rutherford, Cornelius Tatum. Oh, we didn't talk about Dante Smith. I didn't even give you 5. If you've been watching me for any length of time, Dante Smith is probably the one I'm the highest on, the guy that I think from last year to this year will make the biggest gains. I mean, he ran for like 400 and something yards and a handful of touchdowns last year. I think he's due to have a monster season at running back too. You don't often hear people talk about his speed, but I'm telling you, he's got a lot of speed. I've seen him turn it into that next gear quickly and get going. And for Tech to have a good season, we're going to have production at running back. Now, another guy to mention there is Travion Cooley and Evan Dickinson. I mean, they're going to be rotated in with regularity, but I think it's Dante Smith at 1. Though they have said that it's going to be somewhat running back by committee. I do think you might see Dante Smith with 1,000+ yard season this year, though. I think that's obviously why I've put him on the list. So with that being said, guys, what do you think? Who would you put in your top 5? Do you agree with WreckTalk's top 5? Hope y'all have a good one, and we'll see you guys soon.